Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you are asking for. This is how I want to start today's video. For what reason? Because I don't know if you know, but on social media there are two players that we know extremely well that have been linked to Juve. We are speaking about Giacomo Bonaventura and Roberto El Tucumano Pereyra. Two players linked to Juve. Remember this morning I recorded the video and I said, you know what, it's Monday, the last few days of the Mercato. On Thursday, final gong at 8 p.m. Italian time, then the doors will be closed. Mercato is over, and as we speak on the 29th of January, there are no midfielders. And you remember what I said? I said, if I could, personally, I would try to go for a midfielder. But I have a problem, because on my list, after Calvin Phillips, Højbjerg, after whatever player, the Henderson and whatever, I don't know what players we have on the list. Of course, you have the dream list, the one of Kefren Thuram, of Kone, of whatever player, but we know that these players, they were more targets, if possible, for the summer, not for the winter, because we know it on the winter, in terms of financial, we don't have the finances now to do something crazy. And you know that in the last few days, we were saying, if Juventus have no money, we prefer to keep that harmony. We prefer to keep the balance into the locker room instead of going and spending money just to spend money. And even if some agreed with that statement, well, honestly, we were a bit disappointed, especially if we look at the last game. Without Rabiot, the game before, without Rabiot, the Genoa game, without Rabiot, hey, we need a midfielder. And this morning I was asking, can we please have a midfielder, even if I have no idea? Now, I want to say, wait, because probably Giuntoli, he watched my video this morning, he said, you know what, Beppe wants a midfielder, and he said, I have no names on my list, so he has no wish list. Let's go on the market of Serie A, which is really close. We can go really fast, because we know it's already Monday evening, we have Tuesday, we have Wednesday, and then on Thursday, it's over. So let's go and try to find Bonaventura and Pereyra. By the way, as we speak, there is Moiskin that is doing actually some more medical tests at Atletico Madrid after the first one that were quite okay. They needed a bit more details to understand it. You know, when I told you, I don't know if there will be a midfielder on top or not. The only chance that there is that we free up one space with Ampere that is leaving. They are giving us 500k. We are saving some salary from Keane. So possibly we have a player until the end of the season that we can go with an option to buy, or a player that we are taking on loan, or a player that is on the free market, whatever, you know. Well, if Keane collapse at Atletico Madrid and he comes back tomorrow morning at La Continassa, it's already over. But now, why these two names? Okay, let's start with the first one. Jack Bonaventura. What is right? What is wrong? What is true? What is fake? Is it true? Yeah, because a lot of journalists, experienced journalists, the credible ones, they're all reporting Jack Bonaventura. 34 years, played from 14-15 until 19-20 in Milan. He arrived a year after that Allegri left, so he never actually played with Allegri at Milan, and now he's at Fiorentina since a few seasons. A Fiorentina that was able to relaunch the player that was actually going towards really the end of the career, was a bench player, and not, because now he even became the captain of Fiorentina, doing extremely well, especially in the beginning of the season. You know, when we are playing that fantasy league, this Fantacalcio, Jack Bonaventura, you sign him in the beginning of the season for 10 games, he's taking you a lot of points, and then you sell him because you know that he's disappearing. Oh, what is true? Juventus really asked for Jack Bonaventura. The moment at the situation of Jack is that he has a contract until the end of this season. So 6 more months with Fiorentina. After that, there is an option for 1 more year, not from the player, but from Fiorentina. So it's actually Fiorentina that is thinking, when they are negotiating with Juve, when they are talking with Juve, they are checking at the player like a player with 18 months contract. Not only 6 months where they say, you know what, at the end of the season, he's gone. We can't cash in anymore, so let him go eventually or not. No, they are really looking at, it's a player with 18 months contract if we want to. So if we can cash in, we can cash in. But the club and the coach, Italiano, they said no, because Bonaventura is a player that is playing there. He already scored 6 goals this season with Fiorentina, doing well. They're important pioneer of that midfield. So they said no. Juventus, they offered 6 months with an option for 1 more year to the player in case of Champions League qualification, which means we know that we will qualify to Champions League, or the world needs to collapse, but we go to Champions League. So it's actually 18 months that they are offering to Jack. Jack, he's pushing. He wants to join Juventus. He really even if he's a pioneer of that midfield of Fiorentina, he really wants to go. And listening a bit left, a bit right, looks like Jack is a Juventino since he's a kid. I didn't know that. I heard it today. Looks like, 34 says it's the chance of my life to play for the childhood club I have. Respect for that. But again, Fiorentina said, no, we don't want to let you go. I have to say that if there is the door that is slightly open on that side, we can go maybe towards the request of Fiorentina to Genoa, because they asked in the meanwhile Gudmundsson, that is a good player. Eh? Remember, a few days ago we were speaking about the future signing potentially Gudmundsson. Genoa said, no, forget about it. We are fighting for avoiding relegation, so forget about it. So at the moment, it is over. I will come back on Bonaventura in a second. The second player, what is right, what is wrong? Roberto El Tucumano Pereyra, that did the world back at Udinese. He played already at Juventus 14-15, 15-16. He played 68 games under Allegri, scoring 6 goals. Not bad for Roberto Pereyra. Unfortunately, at that moment, he was quite young. In the meanwhile, he's 33. He was quite young and he was not at the level of a Vidal, a Pogba, a Pirlo, a Marchisio. And at a certain moment, they split way. Roberto Pereyra, always in good contact with Juve, no problem there, especially not in terms of behavior. But it was not the moment for him and he preferred to try something else. Juventus, they asked for him. There was some information when during the talks of the meeting for Samardzic bis, you know that there was already a meeting for Samardzic where Juventus, they have put their condition. They didn't want an obligation to buy. They didn't want an easy option to buy that became a obligation if you reach Champions League. They preferred, a bit more difficult targets to reach. Where Udinese said, no, we are not sure. Juventus, they contacted Udinese again, sitting down at the table, telling, can you please reconsider the initial offer that we did? Udinese, they said, yeah, we can, but give us Miretti. I know. Juventus doesn't want to give Miretti. I know that at the moment, speaking about Miretti is a bit sensitive. It's a bit particular. It's a bit difficult because we know with the last performance of Fabione are not the best one, but it's a really great potential. Never forget about that. And also the entourage of Miretti, they have a beautiful future planned for the young kid that already played more than 60 games with the first team of Juve. So it's not even Miretti entourage that would say yes. So Juve said, we don't know, we don't want to. On the other side, we know that we need a midfielder on top of what we have and not leaving one and taking one. With the potential that Samardzic has, we believe in him, we would love him, but losing one to have one and we are at the same point. So it's not even a discussion. And that in that discussion, that the name of Roberto El Tucumano Pereyra came up. And Pereyra would love to come back to Juve now that he's a more mature player. Udinese, the problem is, what they ask between, depending the sources, 3, 4, 5 million. So let's say an average of 4 million euro. For a player that was at the end of his contract last year, was about to sign in Serie B to Sampdoria, waited a bit and went again on a free transfer to Udinese. So leaving Udinese, being a free agent, going back to Udinese for less money than he had originally. And now they want to cash in 4 million euro. I tell you, Max Allegri would even pay on the table 1 million euro from his pocket. He would say, you know what, if I really need to, I like Pereyra. I know him, I coached him during 2 years, player that could give us something for the remaining part of the season. Give me Pereyra, I would even pay 1 million. Of course, it's not true, It's, to joke. But the problem is that Juventus doesn't want to pay the remaining part, 3-4 million euro. They said, no, we don't want to pay for El Tucumano, with all the respect, 33 years old already. We don't want to pay 3-4 million euro. And then we save this cost, and that's a bit too much. Now, if I have to choose between Bonaventura and Pereyra, the heart says Pereyra, because he was already there at Juve. It's always romantic. It's always beautiful to have, On the other side, I'm thinking about the characteristic that we were looking for. When we said no to Calvin Phillips, that, you know, I liked a lot, but I didn't want at Juve. When we're looking at the Højbjerg, when we're looking at all these players, I always said no, because tactically, it's not what we need. We need a player that has the characteristic to play a bit more in the other opposition midfield. A player that has the behavior, the tendency to go up with the ball. And especially a player that is able also to take the shot from the distance. That sometimes our midfielders are lacking. Having a player that is able to give a bomba there from outside of the box there, a la Bonaventura, would not be bad. So I would say no to both of them. I told you in the beginning of the video, pay attention what you wish for. Well, be careful. But if really I have to take one just to increase the quantity of players, and we need a midfielder today, I will go for Bonaventura. In an ideal world, not to one, not to the other one, I would prefer a name that I never heard. Instead of 34, 33 years old players that at a certain moment, basta, turn the page and move on and think ahead. What does that mean? What does that mean here? Why are we speaking now, on Monday, suddenly about two names? Well, it's quite easy. The strategy changed. The short-term strategy, especially after the draw of 2 days ago. It means that we really understood that we need a midfielder. And if we were looking to or the one that we want or nobody and we wait, a bit of strategy of Juve with Giuntoli. You remember when we had no sporting director or football chief, when we said or Giuntoli or nobody, and then we are even ready to wait. Well, the same strategy was taken into now, the winter mercato. But at a certain moment, we really believe that something beautiful can happen. And maybe we understand also that we are a bit short. And we had that knock on McKennie. That is okay, he's fine, he will be there is no problem. But if the knock was a bit harder, without McKennie, without Rabiot, without this, without that, probably all what you have built in so many weeks, in so many months, everything can collapse from one day to another. Remember, we said it, from the moment that you lose a game, from the moment that you draw a game, everything that you build can collapse, because the other one, they can go back and the other one can run what is actually happening now, even if we have that big game on Sunday, and we will see. You know what I'm scared on the other side? If we don't choose between Bonaventura and Pereyra, there is still the other one, Bernardeschi, that is waiting. He has already the ticket to Torino ready, stamped, he already paid for it from his pocket and he's ready. So, no, not Bernardeschi, please. But the strategy probably changed. With Giuntoli, I said, you know what? I understand. Strategy for future. We go for, we don't change, but if we need someone now, let's go now. So I would not exclude that one of the players are arriving. And probably not the first choice, probably not even the second choice, but maybe the third choice. So let me know what you thought about that breaking news video about two names. I'm really curious to hear about you. Let me know. Maximum of like if you didn't, please subscribe to the channel. Grazie, forza, Juve.